Welcome to the Bookworm Bindery with Cathy-Lynn. I am playing with Christmas things today. I just finished up putting a small Christmas junk journal together. It's actually a medium-sized book, but got that finished. And then I had a bunch of leftover stuff. And so I started divvying it up, and I came up with, pardon the reach, 2 packs of, this is going to be like a mega pack of ephemera for Christmas themed. I've got one for my size of medium books, and then another one for a larger book. So my medium books are 7 by about 5 1/4. And my large books are 9 by 5 3/4. And so the only reason that would be important is on the tall things, like say a full-size belly band that goes top to bottom, or a page edge that could be just decorative or used as a slide-in pocket that goes along the whole side of a page. So that's kind of what differentiates that in my mind. And obviously the long ones could be cut down to fit a smaller journal. So I was messing about and getting rid of some stuff, things that I have extra of, or I thought, oh, this would be nice to put in here and, get rid of it. So it has charms and bows and ribbons, and each of them has a thin washi tape, and there's scraps of paper, and there's some actual finished card, like journal cards or journal tags. But then there's also things to be made. And so I have some leftovers, and not enough to do a whole nother ephemera pack. So let's put this away and move a few things back because it's encroaching on my workspace. But I thought, well, you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little video on how to put a couple things together and use some of the odds and ends. So I had a package, actually, I've had a couple of these. I have ones of, these are shank buttons, and they have the snowflakes. This package actually has the snow family. So it has the 3 sizes of mom and dad and a kid. I'm not going to open it, but I did have a few of those buttons left from the other packages, and I'm going to snip this back off and glue it as a decoration onto one of these bands. And I have a bow left, and yes, I could put it back into my box of bows, but I decided to go ahead and use it. So what I have is circles from my 1.5-inch punch. The circles were not what I was making. I was actually making strips with holes in. And then I was taking some of the different papers that had holiday and Christmas themes. This was let me pull it out. This was a book, paper pad. This was the Bow Bunny. 36 pages of joyful Christmas. And it's a nice weight cardstock. And so I was using stuff out of that, and I had some of these pieces left over. And I thought, well, I'm going to make bands out of these. Let's see what happens. As I put things aside, I'm burying my scissors, and I may need those. So let me unbury my scissors. Okay, so this was the paper pad. I don't remember. I think I picked it up at Michael's on a Christmas discount a week or so ago. And I had some Christmas paper. I had some literally wrapping paper that I used in my decorations. I had some sheet music, Christmas music that I used. Some stamps, and stencils that I did in the book. Some stickers, some washi tape. But as I was kind of adding the paper stock from the paper pack, I thought, oh, I could do something kind of fun by taking some of this extra, cutting it into squares, and then taking the paper that I cut the rounds out of and fitting these square pieces in. Then the byproduct of all of that are these paper rounds, and we'll be doing something with that in a minute. So I have quite a few of these sitting here. We're not doing them all. I will be doing them all, but I won't make you sit through that whole process. So let me try not to mix up too much. Oh, they're already mixed up. Okay. So I had one more of these. So the idea here is to not put the matching square behind the, oh, that's upside down. There we go. Behind the cutout that I've got. So I've kind of layered this up with other things so that it'll have a really cool look. Before I get started, I need to go get a pair of pliers or dikes to cut this off with, so I will be right back with you. Okay, that didn't take more than a sec. So now let's take this pair of dikes and cut this. It's possible you could cut this with a pair of scissors, but I have no idea where that went. And at some point in the future when I find it, I'll be like, what's this for? Okay, set that aside. Let me grab an emery board, and I'm just going to kind of smooth these down a touch. Actually, that cut pretty close. It's not all the way flat. It's not going to be, but it's close. I'm just going to file this down. Oh, apparently I'm going to make you wobble. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that will be able to lay flat. I'm going to glue this down with hot glue because hot glue has more bulk to it than a regular glue, and I find that when you're doing something like this, hot glue is a better deal. Okay, so let's start. I took the pen out already, but we're going to start with inking these pieces up. I don't need to ink the square pieces because you're not going to see those edges. They're going to be on the back side, and they're either going to be glued flat or they're going to be the inside of the tuck. So I'm going to use black for everything, and I'm just going to go around the outside of these. Note to self, next time ink the outside of these before you cut out the holes. It's a little more stable and easier to hold and get the inking done well. That made you jiggle. It wasn't an earthquake, I promise. You probably figured that out yourself. Okay, so then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to kind of run it around the inside. So what that's going to do is it's going to take out, I don't know if you can see this, just at this angle, it's white in here. It's going to cover that, but it does actually give a little bit of a rimmed edge. That just gives it a finished look that says, look, this is supposed to be like that. I didn't just take a rimmed piece of paper and randomly decide to use it for something. Okay, I'll go ahead and do this one too. Oh. I thought about using green on everything or just kind of brown. I tend to use sepia. I know a lot of people use like I don't know what, old photo or something. I don't know. I've got it. It's just not out. And I find that I like the sepia better than, say, coffee. And I think it works really nicely. So that's what I tend to use for browns. I don't know what do you use if you ink your edges? What is your preference? Okay. There. And look, just a little bit of ink on my fingers. Not too bad. All right. Okay, let's start with this one. I don't know why, just because. So this one, the design goes this way. So this is not something that you certainly could use it as an edge on the edge of your paper. But you could also use it at the top as a header, or you could use it at the bottom. And then once these are filled in, you could slip something in if you just glue it. Okay, so here's what I've done. This, once I've cut the holes out, just a quick, we'll pretend demo. When I take my 1.5 inch hole punch and I slip it in and I pop this out, it's a set distance from the edge. So then I just turned it over and I kind of measured it and I cut it so that it had approximately the same amount. Please don't go measuring and saying, Kathy, it's off a little bit. Yeah, it probably is because I eyeballed it. But that gave this nice kind of pretty close to even edges. I'm going to call it close enough. So now what's going to happen, okay, I have for this, I have Psalm, I have Snowflake, and I have Pine Cones. So I'm going to put those in this, nope, I'm going to put them in this order, like that. Can you see that? Am I in frame? No. Now I'm more in frame, so it'll go like that. So we'll start with this one because it's in my hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this outside edge lightly, and then I'm going to go around here. So that'll keep this from lifting. So if you do use this as a pocket and you slide something in the back, it won't catch behind this, between this and the actual band. Oh. Yes, I did just put that on the wrong side. So, the ink isn't quite dry, so now my fingers and the glue have picked up some of the black ink. Yeah, there we go. Try this again. Okay, we'll try this again. I did this on another one too. It's because I'm just special. That's what happens when you're talking and you're not necessarily mindful of what you're doing. But, you know, it's fixable. It's fine. Okay, we're going to juggle. Not really. But I want this glue to be thin. I don't need it to be super thick. All right, keeping in mind that this is the way that this picture goes. I think I want this to go like this. So now I just have to slip this on, turn it over. Okay, that's it. Apparently a little bit of glue came out here. Okay, next one is going to be this. This one's next. Now you have to look at your music and look at that and say, which is the right way up? And that's a very good question. Thank you for asking. It goes this way. Okay. So here we are again, I think. I don't know. We'll put glue here. And glue on the front side because that's what's going up. That's what's going to face the board. Okay, now we have to check this again. Yes, this is still right side up. This is right side up. So I'm just going to slip this in here. Check it on the back. This is a little bit crooked, so I'm going to turn it just a hair. There we go. And I'm going to throw it away, apparently. Okay, so there's that one. And then the last one will be snowflakes. And this was cut a little bit large. But if I put it this way, nope, it's going to overlap there. I don't want that, that extra bulk. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to have to cut off one end or another. I think this end over here. Okay. Now let's see how that lays. They're snowflakes. They can go any which way. Yeah, I feel like that's better. Okay. So, again, this was the actual project I was doing for the Christmas junk journal, which I've not done a flip through on. I probably should get that done. Okay. Slide it down a little bit because I don't want it overlapping. I don't want the extra bulk of that. Okay, there we go. So that one's done. And now we'll do this one. And this one, I have 2 pieces of music. And then I have 2 pieces that are Christmas tree, I guess. These are just ornaments on a green background. This one is actually pictures of an ornament and the poinsettia, some roses, little, I don't know what flowers those would be, and then a pine cone. So the thought was to do them alternating like that. So let's do that. But these are direction sensitive, where this background piece isn't. It's just a nice piece of green, maybe like, I don't know, wallpaper, or maybe greenery, but it's not very distinct. So what's going to be important here is that all of these be facing, oh, the right direction. I should glue it. It's gotten cold this week. We had a really great rain a couple of days ago, 3/4 of an inch at my house, and I'm sure my fruit nut trees are happy, and we've planted the desert. My mom planted the desert seeds for wildflowers a couple of days ago, so now they have nice rainwater to start germinating with. So those seeds get planted here in October. So they got planted the end of October, and oh, it doesn't really matter. I guess it doesn't really matter whether I do the cardy thing first or the band. Okay, there we go. So it's gotten cold here. That's where I started this. And seeing as how less than 2 weeks ago it was 100 degrees, we had a really late heat wave. It lasted about a week and a half. The evaporative cooler is still hooked up, not turned on right now. The heater is not hooked up, and so it's chilly in the house. We do have a cast iron wood burning stove, and we have a couple of small this way, a couple of small space heaters, but space heaters are just that. They're just going to heat a small space, and I don't even have anything like that running right now. And the wood burning stove is something that heats, you know, we use it at night. It's sometimes late afternoon, but I am videoing this in the middle of the day. There. A hint of each of these things. So, okay. The house is chilly, and I am a little bit stuffed up. I think molds kind of had their final hurrah. Well, not really. I mean, I live in Arizona. We'd have mold all year long. And I suppose that's true of other places as well, especially in the home, because if you have heat going and you, I don't know, boiled a pot of pasta or potatoes, you have steam on your windows, then you're going to have mold too. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking my stuffiness is from. Okay. So this is a really cute way to use up odds and ends, remnants, bits, odds and ends of stuff. And it looks really clever. I don't remember who I saw do this first, but it's something that's been around a long time. If you're a paper crafter, you're like, oh yeah, I've been doing this forever. But if you're not, you know, if you're fairly new to this, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, this might be really handy. So I laid this one to go this way as well, but I've got a couple of more to do, and I'll probably do a couple where everything is turned for up and down. You can still use this up and down. It's not like you can't, but I just kind of wanted to show you some options with this. Okay, so now what we've got, let me move this aside. Oh, nope, little decorations. So now what I've got here is this button that I broke or cut the shank off of, and a bow. So let's take this guy, and I am going to put, I don't want to put the button on the end. If you were to put this in on a page in the middle, this is a terrible place for a button. And if you put it on the other side so that it's on the outside, you might be like, but I didn't want it on that page. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the middle. That will at least keep the button out of, or the former button, out of the center of your book, your spine. So we're just going to glue that on. So I have my hot glue gun heated and ready. And I'm just going to put a blob here. Doesn't need to be massive, but it does need to be big enough for this to really grab these little nubs. So I'm going to stick this on here. And I think I don't really want these sticking up. If that was sticking off the edge of a page, that would be enough maybe to grab it and cause it to be ripped off. Maybe. Maybe not. So there you go. Ta-da. And then this one we'll put the bow on. And this one is going to be too long to go across the page. I mean, you'd have to cut it down. So if you were like, well, I want this to go across the bottom and I want to turn it into a pocket, you're going to have to probably cut one or the other off. And by gluing the bow here, if it went on the right-hand page, this is the one you would have to cut off. But then you'd have this to use for something else. You could use it, you could put a paper clip on the back of it and use it as a altered paper clip, or you could just glue it on as a little decoration. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my, you can't see the bottle because I have it in trying this, but this is Fabrifix. Because this is fabric, ribbon of some sort. This ribbon is fabric of some sort, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Then I'm going to go ahead and use my Fabrifix. And I am going to put it at an angle. Just kind of press it in. Give it a little bit of time to dry. Cool. Okay, so those are done. So this was the project I did on purpose, using spare odds and ends of paper. This project is something that I've done a few times where I've taken circles. Previously, I've used this with 1-inch circles. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find this one. Not terribly exciting. So we're going to talk about what we could do. That one's pretty plain. Don't seem to have any of the brown words. That's okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to layer these up, and we are going to make, alternating somehow, we're going to make a decorative page edge. And so we're just going to pull our glue over here, lay it down. This glue thickens when it's cold. I mean, not to the point you can't use it, just the point that it's slow. So sometimes I have to just hold it in my hand for a few minutes and warm it up. And sometimes I have to try to decide what's the best way to overlap this. Actually, I think I'm going to make it the top piece. So it's going to overlap the snowflake. And I'm going to turn the snowflake so that I get like the best part of the snowflake, which means I'm going to lose this little baby one if I put it there. So I think I'll put it here. Okay. So I'm just going to put a line of glue. And I'm just going to set this here. So this is an eyeballing situation, how much you overlap these. But you do actually have a few minutes to kind of figure it out and then adjust it if you need to. Slip it in the glue. If you are using Art Institute's glitter glue, you don't have quite as much time as you would have with a glue stick or with Fabrifix or Fabri-Tac, or even white glue, just a basic PVA white glue. So there's my little overlaps. These had little pencil marks to kind of tell me where to, it was on the back side of the scraps telling me where to cut the holes. It's sort of a guide. Didn't work very well. Okay, so how many of these you need is totally dependent on, yeah, this is the right way, on the length of your page edge. Like I said, I've done this before with 1-inch circles, and it turned out really cute. And so I was like, well, I'm going to try this with these because I have these circles left over. I need to do something with them. And I'm sure there's lots of things I can do with them. But this is what I've chosen. Okay. Now let me hold that for a second. I have gotten a little bit crooked. So let me kind of move you back a touch. I'm running them along this line here to see how far off they are. It's not bad. I rearranged this one slightly and that kind of straightened it up. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. 6 inches perfectly. So my medium-sized books, the pages are about 6 3/4. So this is going to be a pretty nice size for a medium page. It can go right along the edge of a page. Here, we'll just grab a piece of paper and pretend. It can go along this edge, and I like them when they stick out. Okay, so this, let's see, we're busy pretending. This piece of paper is 7, so it would be actually a little shorter than that. We'll just lay this here. And then this could be laid right here. Won't go quite to the end, won't go quite to the top, but it gives you a cool page edge. Now, on the other side, it is plain. So this may be something that you want to do something like take an eraser and erase those pencil marks like this, because you can. Ooh, sorry, it's making you wobble. I apologize. I'll try picking my arm up. It's not doing great. Sorry for the wobbling. Okay, here we are. Maybe. Can't get them up. Okay, there we go. So, Halloween was this past week, and I had on long, black, pointy fingernails. Very pointy. Incredibly pointy. And about this long. Let's see if I can find a place. About this long. So I cut off about 1/4 of an inch, and it was point. It's like, I better cut those down before I poke out an eye. And then this kind of comes across kind of blue teal. It was a translucent polish that I just put over the black because I'm trying to decide what I want to do with black nail polish. You've got a craft show coming up on the weekend. Just today is Tuesday, and my red underneath and black top Halloween witch costume nail polish is probably not what I want to take. Okay, so there's that one. And then we'll just look at this from this point of view and say, if we put one more on, so my large books, the pages are 8 3/4. So we have 3/4 approximate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think maybe we can put 2 more on here. 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So now let's say we made it this, and you go to put it in your book page and you're like, whoa, that's too long. Cut it off. That's what scissors are for. Yeah. Then this comes up right to its edge, nicely rounded, and this one is cut off. And if you really hate that, cut it very carefully along this so that it doesn't go quite to the edges, but they're neatly round. There's a solution for almost everything. Okay, so let me finish this up, and let's finish up this video just so that you can get on with your day, and so can I. We're coming in at just over half an hour. And if you are one of my followers, you will note, undoubtedly, that I did not have a Finish It Friday. The last 2 Fridays, I did not have one. And that's primarily because I didn't finish anything. And that's because I was, busy. So I don't know whether I'll have a Finish It Friday this week or not. I will be finishing things on Friday. The question will probably be, am I going to get anything videoed for it? So I have a craft show on Saturday and Sunday. And then next weekend, I have a craft show on Saturday. So yeah, theoretically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a little bit. And those come in at 8 3/4, so that should fit. And I think I'll stop there versus adding the last one, because I know I'm going to cut that off, at least part of it. So I'm going to take it off. Okay, so here we have a pretty nice page edge that you can, as I was showing you a few minutes ago, you can have it sit off. You could have it sit off just a little tiny bit, which actually adds an interesting little tidbit here. And if your page wasn't white, or even if it is, that's interesting. It catches the eye. So I probably should have inked these as I went. And I see that right now. Right now. Yeah, right this minute. So next time, or on the next of these, as I do these, I think I'll ink around them. And I find that I often ink just before I glue. The ink isn't quite dry, especially when you use the water-soluble inks, like the distress ink. If you're using an oxide, or if you're using like StazOn, that doesn't take very long to dry, and then the glue doesn't spread the ink. But yeah, oh well. Yeah, see, it would have looked so much nicer if they were inked all the way around their circle versus just on the outside edges. Okay, see, I learned something new. It's not something new, and I've had to relearn it multiple times. Someday it'll become automatic. I'm not going to hold my breath. I can't hold my breath for a long time, but that would be ridiculous. Okay, so there we are. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so before you leave. If you enjoyed this video, or found it informative or weird or funny,